So hello, welcome to, I'm going to call it 38A and 39A. It seems I owe Agora an apology. I didn't read the instructions, however, I still maintain the instructions are extremely odd. So I'm going to redo, not the whole issue, but just the attaching the side bits on. All become clear in a moment. So I have on my desk the parts, and in the corner you will see an extremely messy desk. This is because I've been doing some dry fits and I'm really not happy. So the instructions tell us to pop this on there, and then what it actually tells us to do, these D screws, it wants us to glue the screws in. Yes, I have said that correctly. They want us to glue the screws in. Now that just seems absolutely crazy to me. So I've had a little look at this, and if you look at where some of the holes are and looking at the next stages, I do think this will all come together in the end. However, these are monthly part works. This could be exposed for a long time. I really am not happy just gluing a screw in. So I have done a little bit of research using what I have, and what I want to do is, now someone else has spoken to me and they've actually glued this in with super glue. I'm not happy with that either, so I'm going to be using Gorilla Weld. I'm just going to refer to this as a two-part epoxy resin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit onto there. I'm going to place that in there. I'm then going to clamp it down using, I forget what they call this. Is that a G clamp, C clamp, something like that, G clamp. So one of these to put down into the middle, and then two smaller clamps there. And then with a little bit of leftover resin, I'm then going to glue the screws in. I just think that's a little bit crazy to glue the screws in. So what I have done, I've done a little bit of cheating. I've made two little Sharpie marks there. What that represents is where this piece finishes. So if I glue up to that line, I know that all of this will be touching this. Well, actually it won't all be. We run to about there, and then this bit across there will be to represent this. So you see it's about there, if I can find it. So I don't need to put the glue there. When these steps go in, you'll see on there's a little lip, and that lip will actually hold that in. You can't lift this out until this is taken out. This I'm quite confident that it just needs to be a push fit. I could glue them if I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this in two stages. Now the instructions for this tells us to allow to dry, grip it together for 15 to 30 minutes, but it fully cures in 24 hours. So because of the way that I have time off work, I'm going to leave this overnight. I'm actually doing this the evening that I'm working, so I'm going to grip this together for the 15 to 30 minutes. Then I'm going to work on the other side, and we'll do that, and then I'm going to leave it overnight. Then I'm going to put this part in once it's fully cured. So I'm not going to be able to finish this for 24 hours. So right, so the way we do this is we do roughly half resin and half hardener, and we need to mix this up. Now I've not, oh this stinks, I've not used this in a long time, but usually what it is, you get two, yeah, so you've got a white part and a black part, and obviously what happens when you mix white and black, you get grey. So you keep mixing this together until you get a nice grey, and there is a working time. I'm not actually sure what the working time is, but due to the fact that there's a working time, it basically tells me we can't hang about, so I can't sort of let this sit here for hours and hours. And using the forks on this kebab stick was not the best idea ever. I thought the forks could mix it, and then I could spread it with the other bit, with the flat side, but that's not really a great idea. So I'm losing about 14 kebab sticks in the process of doing this. Oh, that really does reek though. Let's hope it's as good at sticking as it's bad at smelling. Right, so keep the layers, keep the amount of glue really thin, because we can always add more. But if I make a big splodgy mess, in fact I might not even have made enough glue up. I want to leave a little bit of glue for the screws, although I suspect if I stick this down well enough with the resin, I won't need any screws. So there we go. I don't want to put so much on that it's going to get loads of squeeze out. I think that's fine. Ooh, a bit high now. Right, so that can go on there. Just got to find the holes. There we go. Right, that's gone in fine. Right, let's get a little bit. I actually forgot to check this. I don't think that's going to be relevant anyway. But now this stuff is meant to be really, really hard, and I did actually watch a quick YouTube video, and they've demonstrated on a barbecue handle. So this clamp, to be honest with you, is primarily just to stop it. When I did a little dry run, I put these clamps on, and the whole thing tried to flip upwards that way. So I thought if I put this clamp on this side, it will stop the whole thing from flipping. So that doesn't need to be really, really tight. But what I do need is to avoid covering the screw holes. Right, so that's that clamped. Let's see if I can get the camera in a better angle. Right, so with our D screws, this is crazy, you know, I've never done this before. So D screw at the ready, cocktail stick. So hopefully I've got enough of this left over, and first one in. Not sure if it's best to put the screw into the resin, but see, these aren't going to tighten up. So that's one in. So let me just double check my instructions for the positioning. Right, one there, one further up the top, just there. Yeah. Right, D screw out the ready. Because the other thing to consider as well, I don't want to block any of this up, because the little boxes are going to go in. Right, that's two in. The next one is going to go right in the middle there. See, that needs to go off center. Right, so get the screw at the ready. put the resin too far up the cocktail stick. I want it right just on the end. I can't see that these, I mean, I don't understand the science of this, but I can't understand what purpose these screws have if they're having to be glued in. Right, so that's the third one, and the last two are going to go there and there. So trying to I think these screws are pointless now. I think the because how do you know when you've got the screw in enough if it never stops rotating? So right, so there we go. So that's those two in. The next bit, I'm going to put that in. I'm just going to double check that is the correct position. I don't think you can really check too much to the bottom of that. Right, so that's going to go in there, and then the screws are going to go in there and there. So I think I'll make some more resin up. I'd rather have too much than not enough, but I don't think that's going to be anywhere near enough. So I'm going to be a bit naughty, and I'm going to use the patch of resin that I just had, but I don't think that's really hardened yet, and I have put way too much on there. There's going to be a lot of wastage there, but you know, that's the way it goes. So what I notice when you mix this, you get a hard lump. Doesn't really want to mix with the other side, and you just have to keep kind of persuading. It's like you've got one is harder consistency than the other. Once you mix it together, it's actually all right. Right, so keep the glue, or keep the resin away from your hands. So just scrape any excess off there. I'm quite confident it doesn't matter if you get too much going through those holes, because it's all going to be inside. Oh, that really does stink, you know. Like I say, I hope it sticks as well as it smells badly, if that makes any sense. I've lost the hole. I've lost the hole. Come on. I have actually lost the hole. I know it's there somewhere. I think that's working, because that resin is stripping the paint off, which is a good sign, isn't it? Right, there's a hole. There's a hole. Right, hole. I knew it was somewhere near there. Right, so whew. No, that doesn't want to know. That's not good. So all of a sudden, yeah, that's doing some good. Right, I think I might have to take that clamp off the other side. Oh, do you know what? I did a dry run on this. Absolutely perfect. There we go. Oh! There we go. So let's see if I can... No. Oh, why is this now not working? It's typical, isn't it? The trouble is, if I don't clamp this on quickly enough, the resin might set, before I've clamped it on. There we go. No, that's not working. Right. Okay, the only thing I can do then is push this down. Careful there. No, that's not working. Right. Okay, this is a disaster. Why, let's say, why does it always work in the dry run? But not. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's not enough contact. How many people are cringing right now? See, that's another worry. If it's stripping the paint off, if I'd have got that in one go, would that have just stuck to the top of the paint, and then at the first opportunity it will just rip the paint off? Right, that's that in. I don't want to be honest with you, that's sticking in there quite well. So I'll pop 2 screws in. You definitely want to use this in a well ventilated area though. See, I'm going through the motions of screwing, but in reality what I'm doing is just screwing a few times and then stopping. Right, there's the screw that went missing. Right, so I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to put some of this on, but I'm not actually going to glue this on, because it's a pretty good push fit connection now. Now that I've done some work on it, it's actually all right. You do need the pliers just to push it down there a little bit, but it's an okay push fit connection. There we go. And also you've got that little lip there on the cupboard, so that cupboard's not going to fall off on this side. You know, it could lift up there, but what I think we can do there is, that cupboard door should open, shouldn't it? Oh, why is that cupboard door not opening? I thought it was supposed to open. Right. So, being very careful, let's see if this works. There we go. There we go, that'll sew. Give it 15-20 minutes, we can probably take the clamps off, but I'm going to be a little bit extra sure and I'm going to leave that overnight. So we'll do an unveiling. Let's leave it till the morning. Okay, so it hasn't been 24 hours, but it's been over 12 hours since I left. This is actually the next morning for me. So what I'm going to do now is take the clamps off. It should certainly be enough to take the clamps off. It does say grip together for 15 to 20 minutes, full cure in up to 24 hours. So let's have a look. And what I'm mostly concerned about really is those screws. So this piece, yeah, these are certainly solid enough. I'm giving them a bit of a hard tug. What I want to do as well is just gently, yeah, that's right, that screw there is solid. This one seems to have a bit of movement to it. That one, yeah, it's got a little bit of movement to it. That one's solid. That one's absolutely solid. That one's solid. And that one's got some movement. So with the 2-part resin, it's certainly on a lot better, but yeah, I'm gonna go with that. That's absolutely fine. So let's finish the build off then. We'll pop that into there. Hopefully I won't have made it too uneven, so that's going to go in. And this, I remember this being a bit of an issue before. There we go, that's gone in. Okay, so that's that compartment in, and I will just pull up the instructions, because one of the lessons I'm learning here is double check that you read all the instructions. So right, so this is the next one in, and I nearly put that in upside down. Okay, yes, because this one pulls down. Let me double check. Yes, yes, so that does need to pull down, and you'll notice there's a little picture on the top, so that's gone in absolutely fine. And then the last compartment is this one, and to be honest with you, I'm sure it's just coincidence, but this has gone in better. I seem to remember in the last issue that these had trouble closing. I am sure that's just coincidence. Right, so make sure that that is obviously come through the back there, and I just want to check. Well, let me move the camera. I want to just double check there's nothing in there. Storage compartment. I know there's something. There we go. Right, so that is 3839 complete properly. I don't understand how those doors are now closing, just because we've put resin on the back there. I made a bit of a mess there, but I don't think that's too much of an issue. And if it does bother me in the end, what I can always do is just pop a little bit of paint. You can see that it's going to be covered by the wheels, and I do wonder actually if this is going to form the start of a framework that's going to go all the way around. You'll see what I mean later when I see the future issues. Right, so there you go, guys. So yeah, my apologies to Agora. I didn't read the instructions well enough. However, I do think that's very dubious. I don't like the idea of having to glue in the screws, but with a little bit of 2-part resin, let me this is Gorilla Weld I've used. I'm going to just call it a 2-part epoxy resin, but obviously I've used a certain brand, but 2-part epoxy resin seems to have done that really well. What it's done in my particular case is it's actually stripped the paint off the metal, which makes me a little bit more comfortable. I'd feel more comfortable plastic on metal bond rather than plastic on paint, because obviously we know with these part works, these paint jobs, they're not really good paint jobs. There is no primers down, so we know that paint is sitting on top of the metal rather than actually stuck to the metal. So if you stick something to the paint, we know if you pull it hard enough, it's just going to pull the paint off and it will come off. Please excuse me if I do this a lot. I'm actually looking after a cat for a week, and I've developed cat owner's throat, which is that feeling where you always feel you've got fur at the back of your throat and around your mouth. Right, guys, so that is issue 38 and 39. Again, I apologise that I've made a little bit of a mistake to the point that I've had to make a different video for it. That's not the end of the world, obviously, because as you know, my attitude on this build is it takes as long as it takes. So I'm going to have to be careful in future. The next video is going to be, I've decided I'm going to do 2 stages a week for this month.
So the next stage is going to be stages 40 and 41. 40 is the rear left light cluster, PCB and accessories. That looks a little bit exciting actually. It doesn't look like there's a massive amount that I haven't already done before, but there's a few little electrical wires, so I know some people get excited by that. And then stage 41 is the 2-door storage compartment and shelf. And I will say with this build, if you don't like storage containers, really this is not the build for you. There is a lot of storage containers. Obviously it makes sense that there's storage containers, because these firemen, they go out to fires and they have various bits of equipment and it all needs to be stored somewhere. But I'll be honest with you, I've only done one side and it's kind of, I didn't realise just how many storage containers there were. It stands to reason. So yeah, so as for rating the issue, the rating has gone up. It is a nice little build. There are little issues, probably no more than any other part work. Well, it's still not the best part work for me, but I need to go back and look at my previous video, and whatever I rated it before, add one mark, add one grade to it, subject to a minimum of a C. So if I graded it an E, make it a C. If it was a C, make it a B. If it was a B, make it an A. Now that we've got some little bits going together, and it's actually getting quite heavy as well, so yeah, it's okay, it's all right. And now it's starting to work. These little storage doors, I was a bit worried about those, but yeah, everything's good. So yeah guys, so what I'll do then is I'll catch you in the next video, when we'll get on with the next 2 issues. So take care guys, bye bye.